Welcome back to another episode of the Second Look Hockey Podcast. As always, I'm your host, David Leo. As always, I'm joined with me by my co-host, Cristian Ceniti. We don't have producer Mando with us today, so it's just me and Christian. We're just gonna
give him the bye week.
We did give him the bye week. We gave him a bit of a rest. Look, put him on.
He's on the grind.
Put him on.
I'm
the
talking to
IL
him. He's on the
week.
grind.
He is on the grind.
Yeah.
He is on the grind. So we can't diss producer Mando, because producer Mando's always on the grind, and so are you, Christian. Man, how has your week been? I know you've been really grinding over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, dude, busy week, fun week though, and just like this is kind of like pinnacle of sports in terms of like the year where you've got two finals going on at the same time. For me, it was this weekend at least was an off weekend for Formula One, which is like part of my weekend scheduling now, and it's always weird coming off a triple header to have nothing this weekend, but we're in Canada next weekend in Montreal, so I'm really excited for that. So yeah, like a good week, one that flies by because I've been busy. I'm sure you kind of feel the same way.
100%. So with the F1 being in Montreal, that also means a normal start time for the races, right? No,
I'll be honest, I kind of like the European legs, because I actually like not 7 a.m. not great, but like a 9 a.m. start is
ideal.
Like doesn't beat that. Like, and so I think Spanish Grand Prix was either 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.
Yeah. I think
great.
Italy too, no? Like 9, 10?
Yeah, and Monza, one or the other, yeah. So those are like you grab your breakfast, head on to the couch or at the kitchen table, have the TV on. You just kind of ease into your weekend. I've said it so many times before, but man, if I can't believe that Formula One became my number 2 sport, but it really has. If hockey didn't exist, I would just be. I think at this point I would have like started living in the UK or Italy and just been full Formula One at this point, bro.
Fair. I mean, I thought.
But we're not here to talk about Formula.
I mean, listen, I completely understand where you're coming from, because my number 2 is European footy, right?
This is true.
I'm a big UK soccer guy. I watch the games in Italy, and those 9 a.m. start. I have done a 6:30 start time. Yeah. Thankfully, my team's Man United. They get the Maple Leaf treatment of they're always on prime time. So they typically get those later start times in the UK, which also bodes well for me. But if I was a fan of some of those other like mid-tier Prem teams that start at like 6:30, or even in the Serie A, like 6:30 a.m. over here, that's a tough wake up, especially if your team or whoever you support is not great. Kind of ruins your sleep schedule. But enough of ruining sleep schedules. I mean, the Stanley Cup Finals have begun, and it is kind of wrecking my sleep schedule too. I'll be honest, Christian, 2 games in, both games go to OT. The second game, double OT. Full disclosure here to you right now, I couldn't stay awake, and not that I didn't want to. Like, I wanted to stay awake for that second OT. Yeah. I was begging and praying that somebody would end it in the first OT so I can go to bed. I had an early morning the next day. I was like, I can't take the risk of this going to second OT, like going longer than second OT, and I'm staying awake 1:30, 2 in the morning. So
that's a responsible decision to be like, it's going to OT. I'm going to say, call it quits here and then pick it up in the morning, versus like, because you're right, like had you stayed up for a full OT and had no payoff, right, you'd feel worse, right? You'd feel like, I should have just went to bed, right? So that's
100%. 100%. And I did pick it up. I did pick it up right in the morning, and I was like, wow, you know what, I missed it in real time, but watching it on a replay,
it woke you up in the morning. It got you going for your day, right? It's funny, dude. We talked about this exact kind of dilemma on the general pod, because Mando had the same point where he's like, guys, I was kind of rooting for it to end in that first OT for game 1.
God, right? Really close. And game 1 too,
yeah. So, and I'll be honest though, like it was the opposite for me, where I was like, I was so ready for double OT in game 1, to be honest. So I get it from both sides, and I totally get it. But you know what? This series so far and early returns, like only 2 games in, but it's more than delivered. Like, it's crazy going from us having watched a ton of these Leaf games, and I'm not talking like a sleepy regular season game against the Buffalo Sabres. Like, in the playoffs, the games involving the Leafs, a lot of the times, not a slog, but it was almost like you were watching a soccer game in the sense that you had to be dialed in on all the little details because things developed slowly, right?
Mm-hmm.
These games, and you know what? This is honestly more of an Edmonton thing than a Florida thing. Honestly, since the Oilers first made the playoffs in like 2018, anytime I tune into an Oilers game, it's like I'm watching a different sport. Like, they just play at an insane pace, and I've seen that in these 2 games.
Quite literally, like it's not
breakneck.
Like it's a breakneck, like 82 regular season, and then however many. It used to be only like 7, but now it's up to 20 playoff games as well. Right?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous how just intense they play, especially their 2 big horses. It is quite literally. I might have said it. I don't know if I've ever said it on this podcast, but the only reason sometimes I would stay up to watch late night games was to watch those 2 play. Like, if you were to start somebody new into the NHL, you probably sit them down and watch Edmonton Oilers, like typically, like or just a regular good old Edmonton Oilers game.
It's, you know what it is? It's you tell them on a not middle of January. That's kind of dog days. Like, okay, this is what you do. You say, hey, it's middle of March. I was after All-Star break or like lead up to the deadline or right after the deadline. So you say like, hey, I'm gonna introduce you to hockey, and you tune in on a hockey night in Canada Saturday, and you make them watch any of the 7 p.m. starts. Doesn't have to be the Leafs. Could be the Habs game, Sens game, whatever's on.
Typically the Leafs.
Typically. And then you make them watch the Oilers game after to show them the difference, right?
Yeah.
That's yeah.
It is, like you said it 100%. Like best. It is quite literally like a different sport with them. They are mutants, and they showed just that in the first 2 games. And I honestly, through 2 games now, I think that this series has delivered in terms of raw entertainment. I would imagine if you are a fan of either the Edmonton Oilers or the Florida Panthers, your heart must be still recovering.
Smithereens right now.
Yeah.
Just doesn't even exist.
Yeah, 100%. From game 1, the Oilers lose the Florida Panthers lose a 2-goal lead in Edmonton, which I must say we saw it last year in the Cup Final. But the Rogers, is it Rogers Place or is it Rogers Arena? I always forget.
Place. Arena is
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Rogers Place and the city of Edmonton, the Moss Pit outside, they are bananas. I love a rabid fan base, and especially seeing that sea of orange when they I know they scored late in game 2 when they tied it up in game 1. Like stuff like that gives me chills, especially again, I'm going to bring back my UK soccer stuff. The big goals in the UK or in footy, do you know what they call them like overseas? Like when you score like a really big goal?
A banger. No, I don't.
Well, it is a banger, but the goals, they get celebrated by the fans, and they call them. They're like the limbs were crazy. Because what it is exactly what it sounds.
Just turned into a wacky inflatable tube man.
You're going crazy, right? And getting goals like that in the Stanley Cup Finals is something I don't know if we felt as often in recent years. We might have brought it up on this podcast too. It always kind of feels like there is a little bit of a lull. Like the NHL playoffs start on like
it's like you start at the top. Yeah.
There's no like you already have your lead up and everything, like you're just dropping straight down, right? But these playoffs have been climbing up that hill and getting ready to come back down one more time, basically. I think that's the best way to describe it.
No, I think that's a very good way to describe it. And yeah, like 100% kudos to the Oilers fans. Yes, outside the arena, like seeing the watch parties outside are awesome. But in the arena, they have consistently been I would say, a top three atmosphere in that arena. Like the fans bring it with a lot of consistency. You know what I think contributes to just how great they are is their goal song is um custom tailored for just like fans. Like it's literally just like a crowd chant.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It goes so great for just getting hyped up after a goal.
They're not
It's
reinventing the
awesome.
wheel.
No, it's very, very simple. Like I couldn't tell you what is even that called. It might not even they might have made it up for this
Uh,
exact
A
purpose. Who
hundred
knows,
percent.
man? I don't really care. I just know that it gets me going, right?
Doesn't
Like
matter.
yeah,
And,
it does
and
it
then at
doesn't
the
matter.
end, they got La Bamba going when they win,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
it's it's like a party the whole time.
oh,
I
it's
love
great.
that. It is a great
It's
time.
great. Picking up off of where you left off, just in terms of the entertainment factor, and before we maybe do a little bit more like hard analysis, really kind of getting more into the stuff that actually happened in the games. Through two games, I really had the thought to myself, I'm like, we are tracking for one of the more entertaining finals in our recent history. I don't even know how far back we have to go really to be like, this one holds the can. Like this is the one that the Oilers are have to go up against, and the Panthers, because it's been both sides. It's been a series separated. I saw a stat, like I think it was Jonathan Willis put out the possession stats, and it's like 50.44% Oilers, 49.56 Panthers. Like that's how close this series is. It's two goals. That all the guys have mentioned this in their post games. You could be up 2-0, you could be 1-1, or you could be down 0-2. It's two goals that separate these teams so far. So yeah, like let's get into it. Like where does this kind of rank for you when you're thinking back to some of these finals? Because I don't know, like you think back just last year. Okay, there was a crazy ending, but from 2-0 until we got back to I'd say 3-3, we kind of had to second guess ourselves after every game. Like, they're not really going to get back from 0-3. The Oilers are really going to claw out of this. And then for game 7, it's like pandemonium. Like,
Yeah,
that was crazy. But that's one game,
but
right?
so now I feel like that, like because it's that ongoing storyline. I feel like that
Sure.
helps its case
Fair.
because it's as you're going on. I think my answer might be that. I think inherently, for it to be as grandiose and whatever you want to call it, to be the best, let's call it the best based on what, who knows, based on our feelings, for it to get to that level, it has to, I think, inherently reach 7 games because that is maximum
Yeah. No, that's
best,
fair.
basically. So we
Yeah.
only have a handful to pick from, including the series last year and the circumstances, I think, around it, coming back, the Oilers coming back from 3-0 to tie the series, and then that final game as well, kind of being on a razor's edge as well, I think lends itself to being one of the greatest series. But this series right now could potentially eclipse that, and it's not trending in that direction, which is crazy to think of. We could be treated to back amazing Stanley Cup Finals, and you know what? As somebody, I've been a bit more critical of the actual Cup Finals in recent years, kind of feeling like it's losing a little bit of its touch. You probably have to go a few years back. I know before this we brought up like the Pens Red Wings. I think both years did they go 7, or was
No, I think it was just the second year.
just the Pens win year? I think regardless, just because that's my I would say that's my formative hockey
Yeah.
like watching experience. I always go back to that series with Crosby and Malkin and them getting over the hurdle, even though they were still very young in their career. The Caps win in 2018. I know a lot of people like just the story with Vegas being that scrappy underdog expansion team going up against the tortured Alexander Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom led. They could never get over the hump. They're finally here. Can they actually do it? I think that's another one for me, but that one didn't even go. I think that finished in 5, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe game 7, maybe like that Bruins Blues series. But that one, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, unbiased, I wasn't really paying attention to because that was in the middle of the Raptors championship run.
It's a great point. So yeah.
For me, it took a lot of my focus away from.
And also, Game 7 was what, 4-0 Blues. Like it was a
bit of a stinker from the Bruins that game too. So, yeah. I think if we're gonna put it all together, there have been moments across the last, let's call it 15 years, where there's been individual storylines, but for a whole series, I think this has been as bang for your buck as we've probably ever seen in our lifetimes. Do you have any other ideas for like what you think maybe falls in that?
I'm trying to limit myself to like salary cap era is kind of what I'm looking at. So that and we talked about it, like those Ducks, Sens, and Oilers Hurricane series, we don't have like too many memories from personally. I think you are kind of on the die with that Pens Red Wings rematch because of, once again, the storylines that you can carry over from the year before, and a lot of the same stuff we're talking about here with Crosby looking for his first. That's probably the one still in this salary cap era that you go to. And that Blues Bruins one was really good. It went 7. It was like a meat and potatoes Stanley Cup Final. You know what I mean?
It wasn't flashy. 100%.
Like it was like a hockey fans, like you have to be deep into hockey to just like love it. And if you're not, it was like, yeah, it was a series. It was whatever. But no, I think, you know what, I think I'm gonna stick with that Pens Red Wings repeat, which not just for the repeat sake of it and the comparisons to this year, but just the entertainment factor that went 7 games, Fleury making the last second save. There's a lot that goes into that. Yeah.
I'm even thinking about like those like mid 2010s cup runs. The only one that like I don't even know if it really like holds a test, but just because of the finish, I think it gets like higher marks is like that Kings 2014 double OT winner. Just like the whole celebration around it, but the rest of the series, I'll be honest, wasn't that great because I remember watching that series, really anticipating those two big markets to really go at it. And it kind of let me down until that final game with the Alex Martinez double OT winner. And I was like, okay, like at least the ending was cool.
It's a good finish, yeah.
Only went 5 games too. But 100%. I feel like the point that we can take away from this is it kind of feels like as a neutral hockey fan,
fantastic watch, man. Yeah.
We've also kind of been like, I wouldn't say robbed, but it's very hard to get other people in if it's not entertaining. Everybody wants the entertainment, and the entertainment just isn't always there. I think that might be a takeaway that we have. If you have anything else.
I would basically say this. This is a good way to wrap up like just this part of this. I think the NHL successfully went toe-to-toe with the NBA's Game 1 of their final. And I know everyone's poo-pooing on... Not everyone, because I think there has been pushback. But the narrative going in was OKC and Indiana, 2 small markets, ratings are going to be down, yada, yada, yada. And then we got a absolute insane Game 1 finish. The NHL went toe-to-toe with that. And I think they came out on par. I think that's a credit to the NHL. Right? That's a win. That is a win.
Fair. 100%.
Yeah.
Just now, like maybe going into the game. Game 2 was, can we call that the Brad Marchand takeover game?
Would you say that's the cherry on his DQ blizzard, Dave? Is that what you would say?
It could be. It very well could be. Dude, game 2, he was electric. Like that was as involved as Brad Marchand. I know we've sung his praises recently. I think I have too, especially. That was as involved as I've seen Brad Marchand involved in years, especially in like a cup final. Probably not since that 2019. Well, obviously not since that 2019 cup final. Have I really seen him that involved? He was doing everything, getting in scraps, looking for breakaways. I think he scored on 2.
Yeah.
Almost had a third. Was alone in front for 1. It was like, oh my God, dude. Brad Marchand really came to play. He knows that the cup's in sight, and I think he's ready to take a stranglehold. So, Christian, one thing I think we did forget to do was, which, now in hindsight, looking back is one thing, but we didn't really talk about like potential Conn Smythe winner picks. Because I know everybody has their answer, right? The answer is obviously Connor McDavid. But I will tell you, I did sprinkle a little something because I'm not so convinced that even if Connor McDavid wins this series, he's going to come out with the Conn Smythe. I think...
Oh, you think we could get the loser Conn Smythe back-to-back?
I don't even think we're going to get the loser Conn Smythe. I think Dry might take it if Edmonton wins.
That's definitely fair.
But on the opposite side, I don't think we're going to get a loser Conn Smythe again. Yeah. I could be proven wrong.
No, I agree.
But I'll tell you who I did sprinkle a little bit of money on. Brad Marchand. His odds were like 80-1 on the site that I used.
Was this going into the series?
Heading into game 1. It was 80-1.
Yeah.
And he has 3 goals now. I know Conn Smythe is for best playoff performer in general. So
we should have both. Right? Like, you know what? The NBA just does the conference finals and finals MVP.
Yeah.
Why can't both sports just say, let's take a good page out of each other's books and let's just have a series MVP and a whole playoffs MVP? Like, why?
Very fair. I mean, 100%. But I still end up feeling like, I feel like at the end of the day, it does come down to who had the best finals.
Definitely have to weigh it more. Yeah.
It definitely weighs a lot more. With Sam Bennett getting a couple of goals, with Brad Marchand now, I think up to his tally's 3 in the 2 games. I was like, I was like, it could happen. He hasn't won.
Yeah.
He's been to, this is his 4th cup finals now.
Yeah.
Has won a cup. Hasn't won a Conn Smythe trophy. I have a feeling this could potentially be the Brad Marchand. What's the term that we use? This is the Lifetime Achievement Award for Brad Marchand. Honestly, I had that thought that in my head, and I was like, and I acted on it 100%. So I don't know if you have a thought on your potential Conn Smythe winner. You could cop out and just say, I think Connor's going to win regardless, because you think the Oilers are going to win, which is fair. I had that thought in my mind, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Listen, I can 100% hear you out. This is another one where it's like sample size, only 2 games, and Brad's been phenomenal in both of them. And if this continues, he puts himself right into the mix, maybe even more so than he already is, because I would still lean Bennett, but the gap is still closing. Even with him with the 2 goals, like, scoring an OT winner is a huge deal. Yeah, like it could be neck and neck by the end of this. It might even be in the end Brad. I can see either one being the leading candidate for Florida at the end of it. Because Bob, you know what? Like, he hasn't been bad in the series. Well, he hasn't been Bob though.
He's been 100%.
He's stooped down to Stuart Skinner's game versus the other way around. So, yeah. It's probably Bob as the number 3 right now, and Barkov hasn't had his moment yet in the series, so it is those 2. I gotta make a quick stop to the front door for a sec, Dave, so you can ramble on for 2 minutes, and I'll be back.
All right, no problem. Sounds good. So the series has, I think, deliver it. It has had everything that you'd probably want in a series, especially with a double OT winner, and in the fashion that it happened. That the game two, that third period, where it feels like Edmonton is trying their hardest to put all the pressure in Florida's grill, and they just really can't seem to get anything going until that last minute. And there's a few miscues on that in that final 30 seconds before Corey Perry, he's got Eetu Luostarinen basically draped all over him.
Yeah.
And
I'm back. And yeah, I agree. Like, dude, how much like flex did Perry get on that shot?
Like none.
It was like he even
the fact he was even able to flick his wrist, and I do want to just bring up the play of. So we brought up Brad Marchand, one of the elder statesmen in the league. I think Corey Perry is he not the oldest player, or is he top 3 right now for sure?
To score a goal in the Stanley Cup Final,
or just in general, like in the league, like he is the elder statesman of the NHL right now. He's the elder statesman in this series, and what he's done for this Oilers team and what he brings, what he's brought to the teams. You know, this is what, his 5th Cup Final now in 6 chances.
Yes, and his 6th overall.
Right, 6th overall. Has his cup, got it when he was young. But this is, we've discussed it before, a truly rejuvenated and reinvented Corey Perry. I mean, it probably helps that you get to play alongside, like, Connor McDavid most of the time.
Yeah, they usually...
usually goes hand in hand. But, yeah, no, I want to give a big shout-out to Corey Perry for... I don't even know. The fact he was able to get his shot off and tie the game up with less than 20 to go, I had my jaw hit the floor. I was like, I didn't think it would happen, but damn it, Edmonton, you got me fooled once again. You cooked. You guys really did cook.
It's hilarious that we've now given kudos to the rat and now the worm. What kind of world do we live in, Dave? How have we did that? We already had 2 separate conversations. I brought up how Brad going to Florida was the opposite of what I like. To me, that was he became Tkachuk's henchman, and that hasn't happened because Tkachuk is injured. It's been more like he's like the mentor, like the wise. He's like I was gonna say who's
the master splinter of
you read my mind, Dave.
You were thinking
there you go. Because so I went through like all of the old mentors in like all the different movies. I'm like, he's not a Yoda. Shifu. Yeah, yes. I'm like, he's not Yoda, he's not Master Shifu, he's not the turtle from that movie, Master Oogway.
Oh yeah.
He's Master Splinter. He is Master Splinter. I don't know what the hell Corey Perry is, but at least in the Brad side I had that one. But yeah, I also talked about Perry where I was making the parallel between him and Randy Orton. And I don't know, it kind of still, it kind of still feels like that to me, like that's a good comp. I had this conversation on the general pod as well, and I think this is a really good one to have here again. What's been the storyline with so many guys on Edmonton, like, just in terms of like getting more than you expected, from Kapanen, from Klingberg, Connor Brown before he was injured, he's back, but yeah, like he had some great stuff. All of these guys kind of having not second wins in their careers, but having to reinvent their game, right?
Rejuvenation.
Yes, and it's not even like Kasperi Kapanen is a different player now than he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs. 100%. He probably won't ever score 20 plus goals again in the NHL. He's now a different player. He fits a different role and he plays it well. Is that not exactly what we've been praising Corey Perry for? That guy feels like he's had 2 careers. It's the all-star career and the bottom 6 career. And, maybe he's turning back the clock a bit now and going back to his all-star days, the way that he's been playing. But I almost wonder if having him as the poster child for how to lengthen your career and be successful really helps some of the guys down the lineup. Like I mentioned too, like a Matthias Janmark was a highly, highly, highly touted prospect with Detroit, and when he went to Dallas, never turned out to be that guy. But I'll tell you what, Oilers fans are more than happy with what he's given them. Victor Arvidsson, 60-point guy with the Kings. He's playing a different kind of role. That's a great one.
Colson, dude.
He's a great one. He was a top 10 pick?
I felt
like he was captain of the Russian junior team.
He's kind of run out of Vancouver as well. Like he didn't really have his graces there by the time he left, and now he is one of the key members of that bottom six, right?
I think it's exactly what we're talking about, where it's like part of the reason patience ran thin in Vancouver is because of the expectations. Vasily Podkolzin, like if Vasily Podkolzin was this player for the Vancouver Canucks, I still don't think they'd be happy because that wasn't the promise that they were made.
That's fair.
And so that's part of why you let him go, and he's flourishing here. So I think, like Corey Perry, for all the stuff he's actually doing on the ice, incredible. But for what he represents for the Oilers, and maybe they don't even have made this connection. Maybe I'm just kind of, this is just.
It could just be a subconscious thing, honestly.
It's just an observation I've seen. He is the poster child for this type of, like, and Klingberg too. Right? He played 2 games for the Leafs, and now this guy is playing with Jake Wallman. And who thought that would have been a pair that you'd be willing to trust defensively, right? Like, it's nothing against Wallman. It's really more to do with Klingberg. But, and I said this, like, this is the cliche where offense is your best defense. And if the puck's not in your zone and you can make a clean breakout pass, which those two can, that's good defense. I think it's totally fair to like the sub layer to this series is, and no, Marchand is more higher layer. Maybe both of them are, but like you have the stars on both sides, but then it's about the ultimate role players in Brad Marchand and Corey Perry. I think
the supporting cast on any team needs to be like they are as important as the star players, and that's just how the sport is played. It's not like other sports, and some people just they can't wrap their head around why. I mean, it could be because Connor McDavid quite literally looks like a freak of nature out there, and him alone could probably win you a playoff series, but you need guys like a Corey Perry and the other guys that we mentioned deep down in the lineup to get to this point. And they're playing their job, and they're filling in exactly what that team needs. Yeah. And you honestly, if it doesn't go their way for a second year in a row, I know they don't want to hear it, but they can at least maybe applaud and pat themselves on the back for even getting there when people probably doubted that they would make it back to the same position that they.
I doubted them 3 series in a row. 3 series in a row. Yeah.
I doubted them 6 series in a row because I doubted 7 series in a row. I doubted them last year too. So, you know what? Fair enough. They're here. On that note,
let's go back to our predictions though. Then let's look forward. Let's go forward.
Game 3.
When is the
Monday, 8:00 tomorrow. I thought it was tonight. I didn't realize it was a 3-day break.
I went to bed last night thinking that it was today, and then I woke up this morning, and the first thing I checked is when is the game, and I realized, 2-day break. 2-day break. So let's revisit our predictions here. I believe you had Panthers in 6.
I said Panthers
I had
in 7,
the Oilers.
But I forget.
Okay, Panthers in 7. Yeah, I have my Oilers in 5. I'm not going to call them my Oilers. How dare I do that? My Leafs always. No, never. I have the Oilers in 5.
I'm definitely not saying my Panthers, by the way, so don't expect that one.
Oh, no, listen. I'm never saying that again. I'm going to wash my mouth with soap after this. I also purposely wore this hat today because this is the Stanley Cup Finals hat. This is Florida. It says Florida, and yet it's in Oilers colors. It's the Gators, but I just found that this is if the Stanley Cup Final was a hat, this is what it would look like.
That's as happy medium as you can get.
Yeah. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Oilers in 5. Yeah, I don't feel great about that after feeling really good going into Game 2. I felt really confident that the Oilers would kind of step on the throat is the wrong phrase, but I thought they would bring exactly what they brought in game one in terms of resiliency. And honestly, they kept that promise. They did do that. And like I said, like this has been a coin flip either way. Like I don't really think there's anything to discredit on either side, really. We've seen one team pile on the pressure, then the other team, back and forth, back and forth. It's tough to do crazy hard analysis coming out of these two games and project it for the rest of the series. I think maybe the one thing you mentioned is like Oilers in back-to-back second periods. Maybe that's when the Florida Panthers have gotten their counterpunch. I don't really know how much I read into that though. Like I'm not saying that the second period, the long change.
I feel like the Panthers in the second period all playoffs. Like we've kind of watched them. We saw them up close, and it kind of felt like through 7 games, their second periods were always the ones where they started to ramp up their pressure and get a lot of their early work done to get the hard work out of the way. Basically, I could think back to like especially the first few games of like the Leafs series, and I feel like they did the same thing against the Lightning. That could just be their MO. So for the Oilers, knowing that, how do you counter that? On the flip side, like for the Panthers, I feel like they really haven't come out the strongest to start out the 2 games.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. And it's tough.
This is what I would say the biggest thing. Like, this is as far as I could go as far as saying this about the Panthers doesn't look great. This series on the whole has been more Oilers style of play than Florida Panthers style of play.
Yeah.
So this is Florida adjusting to Oilers hockey instead of vice versa. That's as far as I go. But honestly, like, the Panthers have done pretty good at that adjustment.
Yeah. Now,
right?
A question could be, can the Panthers bring their style of hockey to the Oilers, especially now going home for the next 2 games? Can the Oilers, if that happens,
continue with that play without the fans behind them, right?
Will they be able to adjust, basically, right? Like, this will be...
I almost wonder if what if we see 2 Florida-style games now in Florida, like, right?
Well, do we see a split in Florida? Because if we're going to go back to last year, the Oilers lost 3 of 4 games in Florida because they lost the first 2. They would have won 1 to send them back to Florida for Game 7, right? So you lost 3 of 4. Can you change that? That won't be good enough if you want to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Long way of saying Oilers in 5 does not feel concrete anymore. I'm going back to, like, I'm not changing my prediction. I'm standing by it, but like through 2 games, it is a coin flip, and a coin flip would say it goes 7 games. So yeah, it sounds very cliche, but it's just been a dream of a series to watch. Don't know how much else I've got. I think I do have some stats. I don't know if you had any closing thoughts, and I can hit us with these stats before we go.
You can hit me with the stats. Go right
ahead. Okay, so this was we talked about Corey Perry. That tying goal at the with what was it, like 17 seconds left or whatever?
Yeah, it scored in 1942. So what's that? 18 seconds. 18
seconds. There we go. So that was his 9th career goal in the Cup Final. Tied Brad Marchand with that. That didn't last very long. So there's that one. And Corey Perry's tying goal, latest tying goal in Stanley Cup Final history.
That seems a bit ridiculous to me.
No asterisk on this one. Not in the expansion era, salary cap era. Not this is ever.
Even like pre-World War II era, like nobody. You're telling me like Red Pullman from like the 1942, like the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't score less than 18 seconds.
It was remember we did this talk last time. It was like Perry, if he lost this series, would be the 3rd player in NHL history to play that many series and only have 1 Stanley Cup. And one of the guys' names was Red Horner. He played for the Leafs. He played for the Leafs in the frickin' 40s. No, so the answer this time, previous record was Todd Sloan in Game 5 of the 1951 final.
I would have got that one.
He did not include who was in that final. Let's just
go back
like,
to.
I mean, it's not that like there's only 6 teams. So
take your pick. I'll be honest. Probably wasn't the Rangers and probably
early,
wasn't the Blackhawks at that time.
I'm trying to
either,
think here.
so.
Early 50s.
My guess is Leafs Habs. Who he played
sounds
for?
Good with me, brother. Yeah.
Who he played for? Who knows? One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was those. I think actually, that's kind of all I had. There was actually, I did see that McDavid has already equaled Ovechkin's career point total in the playoffs.
It's ridiculous.
Which that is a crazy one. That's a really crazy one. Yeah, and then there was the Brad Marchand parallels that were brought up on the broadcast. Yeah, like that 2011 series was a joy to watch. It's one that could be in the contention, as we talked about earlier, just about best cup finals in the cap era. That goes very high up there. But yeah, to see like those similarities, it's crazy. And just think back to like what Brad Marchand was as a player back then. That was just him starting to go from a bottom 6 fixture to maybe you're like, oh, maybe this guy's got a little bit more. Like maybe he's a second liner. And then you fast forward like 5 years from that, and we're talking 90 plus points. One of the best players in the league. Like,
yeah,
it's a crazy journey.
Like a potential captain on a team full of captains.
Yeah,
like with him.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
Yeah,
you're playing behind Bergeron and Krejci, and you are like standing toe to toe with the two of them. Like that deserves a little bit of respect too.
It is crazy that they had Chara, Bergeron, Marchand at the same time and were able to pass down that captaincy to those three. Like that is
ridiculous. Now they got Pasternak. Like it just not fair.
Yeah, spoiled. And we can end with this. Did you see after watching it the morning after Brad Marchand's mom's reaction?
I did. Yeah. I mean that was pretty heartwarming. I know great. a lot of Leaf fans that I know were throwing some not nice names towards her. And I will say, listen, at the end of the day, that is somebody's mom. She's been with her son for his entire life. That has to be... I mean, she saw her son win a Stanley Cup, so is that the proudest moment of her life? Or for her son's... Like, maybe not.
Imagine if you were only allowed to be happy at the proudest moment of your life. That would be really tough.
That would be very tough. 100%. So you know what?
I love what he said after. Did you see this as well?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
He's like, yeah, my mom's someone that, like, she's got to put she needs a muzzle on. That's the exact phrase he used, which, Brad, watch how you talk to your mom. Okay. He can say it, whatever. But, yeah, like, and that comes through. Like, she was holding that in, that scream, that I don't know where she's sitting exactly in the building. Probably, I mean, listen, they can probably sit as close as they want, but something tells me whatever Brad's mom shouted, nobody on the ice heard. That was just her doing that for herself, for whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she could not keep it in her chest. She had to let it out. It was like just the reaction.
100%.
So that was funny. Thought that was funny seeing that from Brad, and yeah, he looks exactly like both of his parents somehow. Like Brad Marchand's mom looks exactly as we picture Brad Marchand's mom, but also
he looks like his dad too. Yeah, 100%. He's got the 50-50 split. He didn't take genes from both sides, and apparently he's got his mom's motor mouth, I guess we could call it, right?
Okay.
If he says he's got to put a muzzle on his mom.
That's where the rat genes come from. Okay.
That could be.
All right.
They just manifested in a hockey player's form, right? I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on the series?
I'm wrapped up there. Cannot wait for the game tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see by next week where we're at in this series. But yeah, like just hoping it goes the distance, just to give hockey fans everywhere like the treat of being able to watch as much of this as possible. Because 10 out of 10 both games so far.
All right, and sticking in the Western Conference, we had the team that the Oilers beat to get to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Trying to steal the spotlight, huh? Yeah. Dallas Stars? No.
The Dallas Stars, they have let go of their coach in maybe the least surprising move of all time. I think we called for that.
No, so I think you did, and I actually pushed back. So I said I think this is one where they probably just repair the relationship over the summer, and he has 1 year left on his deal. They play out the string and see what happens. No such patience for that, Dave. No such patience.
Yeah, so on, this was 2 days ago, so on Friday, so you guys had just recorded, you guys put out
It happened right at, like, literally within 5 minutes of us
hitting publish. Oh, hitting the record.
Oh, just right after, right after.
Yeah, tough one. So, I'll read a quote from Dallas Stars GM Jim Nill. He says, after careful consideration, we believe that a new voice is needed in our locker room to push us closer to our goal of winning the Stanley Cup. We'd like to thank Pete for everything that he has helped our organization achieve over the past 3 seasons and wish him nothing but the best moving forward. 3 seasons of which that the Dallas Stars have been eliminated in the conference finals, and also, funnily enough, 6 of the last 7 seasons that Pete DeBoer has coached in the NHL have saw him lose in the conference finals. I think both times it would be in the Western Conference Finals. Crazy that he's even getting there, because as a Leaf fan, I'm praying for 1 conference finals appearance. This guy, gluttony of riches, 6 of 7. Are you kidding me? I wish. But
just needs to find his way to a conference finals game 7. Come on, Pete.
That is exactly what he needs.
It's just all the memes where it's like, why doesn't Pete DeBoer simply get to game 7? Is he stupid? That is the meme. That's,
for real.
He's just, yeah. No, listen. Like I said, I know you said it's the least surprising move, and it is a little surprising to me because I just don't know what the move is from here that makes you feel very confident as a Stars fan that things work out. But maybe that's cynical of me, because listen, if he was the great coach that I'm saying he is, because I do like him a decent bit, he would have probably gotten over this hurdle at this point. So we had the reports that basically exit meetings with Stars players is kind of what pushed this over the edge, that it was more than just the Otter stuff. It was but like that was definitely a big part of it.
That was a catalyst.
A sizable portion. Catalyst. Great word to use there. Now, flip side. Jim Nill has been really good as the Stars GM. He hasn't made a lot of crippling errors as the GM. So maybe I shouldn't doubt him to kind of pick the right name as his replacement. Have you heard some of the names thrown out there, or would you like me to?
You can list them, but I would imagine some of them are overlapping with other names we've heard that the Bruins were looking at, and the Penguins before that were looking at as well. Would I be correct in assuming?
So, surprisingly, not really. I don't think so. Because I think the one name that, like, with the Penguins that I'll be interested, because I've been interested in this guy since he was made available by Calgary. Mitch Love. I want to see where Mitch Love lands. But actually, Mitch Love isn't involved so far. We haven't heard his name around the Stars yet. Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts threw out the following names. Neil Graham. This is their AHL head coach.
Okay.
The Texas Stars are in the final right now, I believe, against the Abbotsford Canucks. So
I feel like the Texas Stars have been in the finals recently too. Like, I feel like they've
maybe last year, considering they had Stankoven and Bork at points, right?
Maybe
like they would have.
Oh, I know that they lost.
Literally the leading scorers. Yeah.
Like,
okay.
I know they wouldn't have won because Hershey won it last year, right?
Yes,
so
yeah.
So it wasn't them.
So, and it was a decent team. Like that's a safe answer. Like if that's what Jim Nill goes with. Internal hire. Dude's had a good resume with the farm team. Probably knows some of the guys that are with the Stars. I know, but I mean not really. Not Stankoven. Maverick Bork, I guess, but Bork's hasn't found his way up the lineup yet. Maybe that's something that Graham can work with him on. So there's option 1. Option 2, Todd Nelson. Hershey Bears.
Yeah.
So there's Todd Nelson as a name. He's like, I think he's been around a couple different jobs. I honestly didn't the Leafs give him an interview? They might have given him an interview when they ended up landing with Craig Berube, to be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, he's been in the mix. Another name, Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah,
this
that's
is one now where it's like, yeah. What do you think?
I've heard his name so many, like, to 4 different spots, and it kind of feels like.
So you're right. This is one that was in the mix for the other teams. Yeah.
Is it to the point? Sorry, go right ahead.
I think it's what you're gonna say. He's been in so many job mixes and hasn't landed one. It probably says something about him.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly it's like. Maybe he is the nicest guy in the world. Maybe it's just not the right fit for some teams or for most teams, right? Like
maybe for all teams if he doesn't get hired by the end of the season.
I mean, Jay might need to do like, I don't know. I didn't think his stock had plummeted like this much.
No, I don't think so either.
But it does, I think, feel like he might need to do a little bit of rehab work, maybe in the AHL, before he gets another break. And when he gets another break, I think he might land on his feet and come back with flying colors. But yeah. I think right now it's just too risk adverse. And this is the other thing I wanted to bring up. Maybe the safe pick might be the best pick here because of how the Stars are positioned. In the case of Mitch Love, my first thought was, are you going to give somebody who doesn't have any history with your team and has no NHL coaching history his first chance with a team that is trying to next year get to a Stanley Cup Final and win it? That seems like a bit of a stretch.
That's ambitious. Yeah.
Okay. And now, in the case of somebody like Jay Woodcroft, are you going to now hand your keys over to somebody who has had some success in the NHL? Again, a stranger to your team, has played your team a few times, right? Did he get into a playoff series against the Stars? Was he a part of a couple of years ago?
Well, no, because last year would have been Knobloch.
Yeah.
So
then the year before,
no.
I don't think they played each other the year before.
No, because the Stars were in the conference final and the Oilers weren't. But I think Woodcroft would have been with the Oilers at that point, right? Like, listen, like Woodcroft is closer to matching kind of what the Stars would be looking for. The weird thing too is that there actually is a prior relationship between Woodcroft and Jim Nill because they were both out of the Detroit system under Ken Holland. So, but that, yeah, we'll see if that ends up meaning anything. Another name.
Okay.
This is Elliot kind of throws him out there. This isn't a guy who I don't know if any of them have been interviewed yet, but this is a guy who's like coaching right now, Glenn Gulletson for the Oilers as an assistant coach. So he got a chance with the Oilers and the Flames.
And the Flames. 100% the Flames. I remember him throwing a stick into the seats of the Scotiabank Saddledome.
So I actually, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, don't the Stars need a coach who, honestly, the more we've talked this out, you're kind of telling me maybe they go with the safe pick for real, because I almost think you need just like the most business-like coach to like put the focus back on your team and the players. Because Pete DeBoer ended up sucking up the oxygen out of the Stars
organization,
the way it ended.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Right? So maybe you just want a no BS coach who, I mean, Chris Knobloch is kind of exactly this. And he wasn't from the Oilers system.
Yeah, they reached down in the depths to pull Knobloch out of like OHL, not obscurity, but like
no, like there was a threat to pull on with McDavid, but in NHL circles, he's closer to the Dan Muse hiring than he is
anything else.
Rick Tocchet in Philly, like whatever.
Craig Berube hiring.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm almost convincing myself maybe Neil Graham is the name that they land on. Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, it could be. I mean, listen, I think we kind of went through it before where it was like, I'm not too sure which is, and this is going to be now the time for Jim Nill to kind of evaluate all his options and see where the cards land, basically, right? Like, what do you have in your hand and what's on the table? Are you going to push your chips in, or are you going to fold? I don't think you really can kind of chalk up next season or the near foreseeable future. This is your best chance to win. Have they missed their best chance? I saw that clip come out of the second look general show. I don't know if they've missed their best chance. Hindsight will tell us if they have. But the future is very murky right now in Dallas. Do you have? Maybe let's hop over to the flip side now. Where does Pete DeBoer end up? Does he get a head coaching job right away? Does he need some time to redevelop? Does he become an assistant? Like, is he going to not stoop down, but like, is he going to look to be an assistant coach for a little bit?
I don't think DeBoer can. I don't see him as an assistant. I think he's still got too much cachet to do that. But I do wonder about, like, just take the start of the season off and kind of get to pick your own spot. Like, don't settle.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to settle, and I think he could benefit almost like Paul Maurice, who stepped away voluntarily from the Jets, but reset, right? Go into next season and get ready to see which contender falls a little shorter than they expected in the first couple months. Maybe you find yourself a spot like Jim Montgomery did in St. Louis, right? Yeah, I think that's kind 100%. Of the... So, yeah, like, I don't have a name or, like, a team off the top of my head. But I think that's kind of the way that I'd go about it. Barry Trotz did that, too.
Listen, for some reason I had I just had a team name pop up into my head. And guess what? You kind of nailed it with the person in Barry Trotz. Could you not see Pete DeBoer joining the Nashville Predators?
Yeah,
trying to bring them back in. Like, I don't know what next season holds. I would imagine that they're probably a little bit better, but if things don't get better for Andrew Brunette there in Nashville, he might be somebody on the hot seat very early on in the season, and you have somebody in the waiting there to potentially take you back up. So I don't know.
That seems like a good match. Yeah, I'm digging it. I'll throw out two other potential teams now that I look at it too here. I think expectations have to be pretty high in Utah this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, so this has been mentioned by Elliot last spot as well. He said, when Pete DeBoer is available, some coaches get nervous. Or when a coach like Pete DeBoer is available, coaches get nervous.
100%.
Damn it, this really good coach is available. I don't know how safe my job is. Andre Tourigny is a fine coach from what we've seen, but there is now real expectation on the Utah hockey. I'm gonna call them the hockey club. We got a name for
the Utah Mammoth.
Utah Mammoth expectation. Everyone's gonna use that pun every single time we're talking about Utah. But yeah, like Utah's got expectations this year, right? I think their roster dictates it, and I think they might add to it this summer. That's kind of what we've heard. Ryan Smith wants to throw the money around, wants to make a solid team here. So that's a way that you could, if your team doesn't come out looking exactly like you expected in the first couple of months, might maybe Pete DeBoer hiring. He's done it with another expansion team before. So there's that one.
That's a good one.
And the other one is Minnesota. And this one is literally just because I'm not a big fan of John Hines that much. So
yeah, not a big fan of Mr. Clean, eh?
So we had this conversation on the general pod. It started with us talking about Dan Muse, who was hired in Pittsburgh by Kyle Dubas, and turned into Guys, Jeff Blashill sucks for the Blackhawks. Why did they hire him? And I made the connection of the three coaches that I just like despise in the modern NHL. Mike Yeo, Jeff Blashill, and now
John Hines. But just clean head dudes, just follicle less men.
I'm sorry, fellas. And maybe after we finish it, like we can have this conversation in 2 minutes. We'll talk about a bald dude who got hired by the Leafs because we might as well just for like a couple of minutes.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll wrap up this. Minnesota I think actually is another team with expectations next year. Want to make changes. Want to go on the up. They've got Kaprizov to get under contract. They need to play well. I think Pete DeBoer could make sense there too. So the Central, I guess, is basically what we decided on. Watch out Central because Pete DeBoer might be staying in the. Yeah. So
how crazy would it be if the Avs finally feel like they've gotten away from playing Pete DeBoer?
No, but that's the great move. I see what you're saying. I thought you were going to say them to hire him.
Maybe the Avs have to hire him as an assistant. Just be like, please, whatever money.
Can't beat him, join him.
Just take your money. Come play with us for a Game 7. We need you right now. And what if he just stays in the Central Division?
When he was with the Sharks, he stayed in the Pacific.
He did.
Went to Vegas, right? So
he did do it. And then he took
wants
them
to
down
be close
right
to his enemies. Exactly.
Right. So
he wants to be close. Yeah. Okay.
Keep your enemies close.
Figured it out. You're staying in the Central.
Enemies closer.
Okay.
All right. So a whole host of teams to pick from there too. He's
got lots of friends, lots of enemies.
Listen, we could talk about the Leafs hiring very quickly. Let's jump on that.
Very quick. Yeah.
The first thing I saw. So I was at work, like I was at my part-time job. The first thing I see in my chat, in our chats, is a Gru meme by Brandon from the Second Look General show. And I was like, oh, what does this mean? And then immediately I was like, wait a minute, Derek Lalonde, because I knew like that is just the name that a lot of people have for him because he has an uncanny appearance to Gru from Despicable Me. But Derek Lalonde is now filling the vacant role left behind by Lane Lambert, who is now in Seattle, I believe, as their head coach.
I would like to congratulate Derek Lalonde on the head coaching position with the Seattle Kraken in 2028.
Yeah. Dude, Dave Haxtell. It was Dave Haxtell before him, before Lane Lambert.
Also Steve Briere, our former, who also just got let go. So
tough. Sorry, pal.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, what was your initial reaction to Lalonde being hired by the Leafs? Because let's hear you out there, and then I'll give you the counterpunch.
Okay. So initially, I saw what he looked like as a head coach in Detroit, and I wasn't too thrilled with what we were getting. But then I saw a message coming in from you that gave me a little bit of pause, and I was like, well, let's not judge him solely based on what he did, what happened with Detroit this past year, but let's also go back a few years and see the great work that he did on the bench for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who went to 3 Cup Finals, won 2 cups, right? Like, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion as an assistant coach alongside John Cooper, right? And that did give me a little bit of pause. And then looking at some of the numbers, he was he their PK coach there, or was he their power play coach?
He was their PK. He was the PK coach.
And they had a top 5 PK for
still have it, yeah.
Still there, right? I mean, probably like some residue left over from him, right? I don't know if residue is the right word, but like whatever. The residuals is probably the better word from
Resigrew? Sorry.
The resigrew.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Good god. But yeah, so listen, I think I'm gonna judge Derek Lalonde based on the actions. I don't want to base on my preconceived ideas.
Notions, yeah. That's where I'm at too, Dave. That's where because I did see a lot of backlash to the hiring. And yes, it's 100% what you said about head coach versus an assistant coach. Some guys are just better in one role than the other. But I just thought as well to some of the names that we already went over. How did you feel when the Leafs hired Dave Haxtell? Not good. Like, no. Whelmed?
No.
Okay. Guess what? Like, the Leafs were still... Yeah, the Leafs were still, like, a playoff team. They still improved defensively. Dave Haxtell didn't undo the Leafs. How did you feel about Lane Lambert being hired last year?
You know what? I had my reservations about him too. I think honestly, we saw kind of what his tenure looked like in Long Island, and it didn't give me that much hope. But maybe, you know, I don't know if it started that hot, but especially down the stretch and heading into the playoffs, he was a big reason for why that PK was more successful. And it's probably been just as successful as it's been in years past. So
yeah, and I'd even say on the other hand, like, maybe I'd say there's like two possibilities here. Possibility A, which is what we're outlining, is that, like, you know, like, maybe we should keep our preconceived notions preconceived, see how this goes, obviously. Or B, the assistant coach doesn't have as much of a hand in things as we think. And I actually think they do have a reasonable hand in things, but it shouldn't be the end-all be-all of your bench, right? Like, yeah, you should be able to overcome... like, I'm sure, like we said, John Cooper, I'm sure he's had assistants. Like, maybe Lalonde is propelled by Cooper as his head coach. Maybe that's part of it. We don't know. Let's give him a damn chance. That's I think, where we're at. So
that's fair.
That's all I've got on Lalonde.
The other thing I think it'd be very, like, it's just funny to mention is shout out to Sportsnet for giving that man two separate jobs.
How about, you know what's crazy though is I know that I didn't get to see much of, like, his intermission hits because I was working a lot of the Leaf games and I'd be, like, editing during those intermissions. But I know people weren't, like, super happy, and it also didn't help that he was then followed up by... Well, he was followed up by Jake Allen, who I think got wishy-washy reviews as well, but Blake Wheeler killed it. So,
100%.
tough act to go after you. Makes it look not as great. So there's that. B, remember he had the banger line when he was covering the Leafs-Tampa series? I don't remember if it was the...
It would have been 2023, I think.
It must have been the second time around because he wasn't part of that team. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember him talking about the Vasilevsky stuff when the Leafs were scoring all those tip shots? And he's like, when we were in Tampa, we looked at this, and that with Vasi, and we basically figured out this is what his weakness, and it looks like the Leafs are exploiting it. Like, that was awesome insight. So, I don't know. I think even people piled on for him just because he looks like Brew, and... Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's good with bad with him.
I feel like the first time around, his insight caught a lot of people off guard, and it was a pleasant surprise. I feel like we just got a bit less of that, and there wasn't as much insightfulness. Maybe it just came down to the fact that he knew that team inside and out better than most people.
You're probably right.
Right? Now,
there wasn't a lot of Tampa for him to cover this year.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's tough because, I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the second go-around, but I was a big fan of the first go-around. So, I was like, so that's why I'm like, I'm in different positions here. I'm not too sure. Again, it is just kind of, it is quite a coincidence, I would say, that both times that you end up on TV, you end up finding a job within months of being on TV.
Usually goes like that for a lot of coaches. I guess it's just to throw a reminder in some GM's heads. I don't know, but he's a Sportsnet hire. Mark Savard used to do the Leafs post game on the radio.
That's right.
I thought he was really good at that too. So I don't know, Craig Berube, I guess watch out for Rick Bowness, or I don't know what other head coaches had a Sportsnet appearance, but
but Rick Bowness would have been. Well, we'll see.
I really hope I'm joking about that, Dave. I really, really hope I'm joking about that. Okay, we're
time will tell.
Covered on the Leafs.
Only time will tell. There's our Leaf talk for the day. Okay, let's So the NHL awards have been slowly getting, like, they've kind of been getting slow rolled and revealed over the past 2 weeks, I would say. Just recently, Spencer Carberry was awarded his Jack Adams Award as the best coach.
Barkov was the first one revealed
with the Selke,
and the King. Was it the Master? It was the Masterton, right? Or was it the King
the Masterton went to Sean Monahan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. And the Clancy went to Barkov. He got both
Was
the Selke
Barkov,
and the Clancy. So I think those are the only ones that have been revealed. I don't know if you also saw this. I will throw this out there. This is like side discussion for this. There was like a potential leak of the Hart Trophy winner. I don't know if you saw this at all.
No, I didn't.
Like, do you want to take a guess? I don't want to reveal it if you don't want to. Because this actually to me seemed legit. So,
how many names could it be? It's
there's not many names. No.
Who am I?
It can't be.
Okay.
It's an interesting one. So there's a picture floating around right now of him with the Hart Trophy, and it looks like a very like casual photo.
Okay.
So we'll see.
AI is getting very, very, very good. It is starting to get like very lifelike. I don't know.
I'm bringing this up because, like I said, I don't know if it's real. I definitely should have like fact checked this beforehand. Maybe I'll look it up. But
listen, we're here for vibes, not facts.
Well,
a bit of
facts
both.
And maybe column A, column B.
Maybe both.
Point of this conversation though is I wanted to talk about not even like just about like who's winning the awards, because I think that's it's a different discussion. Just how do you feel about how these have been revealed? Because I'll go first here because I want to make sure I set the record straight. Like, it is awesome for these award recipients to get the awards in the way that they are. Like, Barkov gets it from the kids at I believe it's the Joe DiMaggio Sick Kids Hospital in Florida, who he frequently makes visits to. He couldn't during the playoffs, so they came to him. Awesome way to do that. Carberry, it was like a pretend hit that he was doing with Joe Beninati, and then his family comes out from the back. Cool. Sean Monahan, don't even have to get into details. Like, really powerful way.
Getting it from from Meredith Gaudreau, I was like, I have to set this video aside because I know the tears are going to be coming back. And was I right? I had to watch this on my own because I couldn't even get through it. Yeah, 100%.
Listen. The content of these videos, I cannot criticize. Like, they are great. They are great personal moments for these award winners. And maybe I'm wrong in even thinking this, but I almost feel like they're trying something new, which I will always credit the NHL for trying something new. But I just think we're losing the entertainment and the shock value of these awards. I feel like they're, in a sense, being downplayed as they're just posted as social media posts, and we're not really going to have an award show. We're going to have a prepackaged 1 hour something air some point in the Stanley Cup Finals. We don't even know when we're in the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, that just shows you how like unprepared this kind of is. I just think that, like, Dave, and you know this too from like the soccer awards, like the Ballon d'Or, like,
yeah, it's a big one.
It's a spectacle of an event, and we've tried that with our B-list celebrities who care about the NHL because none of the A-listers do, like, whatever. And it also does seem like the NHL players don't care that much. But I think that is inherently a problem. Like, I kind of think we need to find a way to make these mean something. I don't know. I just haven't loved how it just feels like it's been downplayed.
Okay, so I will push back on you just because I could vividly remember sitting through multiple NHL awards and just feeling the same as the players. Like, it's like, okay, brave me the heart. Like, I don't really, like, we don't need the,
we don't need the filler. You're right. The problem is they'd always have the filler.
See, I feel that way even about, like, award shows. Like, I try to sit through, like, entertainment award shows and I still feel the same way. Like, just give me best picture.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am in the same boat. I will commend the NHL for trying something new. Has any other sport really done anything?
So you know,
similar?
like you know where they not stole this because it's not
NFL.
stealing. Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
I mean, yeah. That one made me choke up too. So fair enough that they did it like that.
I don't have the solution. I'm not gonna pretend I can have the solution. And also, I want to say maybe I'm just being selfish here, trying to say, how about you please me, the fan, huh? I'm not entertained.
Yeah.
So listen, I get that. Like I sound like I'm talking from a perch here. And like I said, I think it's great for the players and the families for how this has been done. And maybe that is the most important thing. Maybe for us, who cares? Maybe that's the right take here.
Yeah.
I just think there's got to be a better solution here that hasn't been tried yet. And I don't have one today. But I will say things that I like. Baseball, okay? When is the Silver Slugger and the Golden Glove Awards handed out?
Is it like the last? It's not the last game of the season, but it's like, or is it
the first game
of
the
next
next season?
Okay.
And I find that they get a nice crowd pop from that at least. Like I just think you gotta have somewhere where fans can give you a reaction because I think that I think that's a little important because even at the NHL Awards, I don't know, do fans attend the NHL Awards? I think it was just
there's some
league people, some in the back of the theater in Vegas. You know what I mean? There's got to be a way,
but not the real fans. So what I will say is that it does really seem like the NHL has foregoed I would call it the traditional way of entertainment because that award show is as traditional as the award shows that I mentioned before. And even those award shows, I think now are starting to move in different directions because the viewership just
the attention span is
just not there anymore. But now, so the fix for the NHL has been, let's turn this into social media. I'm going to call it fodder because at the end of the day, I think that is mostly what you throw up there. At the very least, I will say
pictures of the dudes in like how awesome is the picture of Carey Price with his Hart Trophy, and his Vezina, or Crosby with 3 awards at once, or we don't even have those now.
Now I think that's going to be changed from Crosby. From Carey Price standing. I can picture him standing in front of that high school photo backdrop.
Yes,
right, with his trophy to him at his house with the nice view behind him for the aesthetics going to be posted on social media. I think that's just inherently where we're going. And here is the thing, whether maybe if you don't like this, I feel like other things are going to be having a social media, a Gen Z type of spin going forward. I don't know exactly what, but some of them
I do enjoy. I will say, some things, dude, I was locked in. It wasn't as locked in this year. It kind of snuck up on me, and couldn't go out of my time to watch it after. You know what I'm going to bring up?
The pop.
Yes, exactly.
The Stanley Cup.
Totally manufactured. There's no goddamn tradition in that. It started last year. I was so locked in. That thing was awesome. That's as made up social media Gen Z as it gets. And
that competition, that entire thing is tailored to you because of your love of all dogs, right?
Sure.
And there's a lot of people like that, 100%, and I completely get. For me, I was like, I watched it. I wasn't as invested as you, but I was like,
this is 2 minutes. This is cute.
This is adorable. Yeah, I was cool. Let me go on with my day. And that's kind of how the rest of these are, but also at the same time.
I don't want the awards to be, this is cool, let me go about my day. That's, I don't know. I think the NHL awards should be, in any sport should be a little bit more than that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have the answer.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think, you know what I also think plays into this, and we can end on this unless you had something else. The media circus around some of the award debates has become so toxic and so overboard.
Just
not as
in
much
general,
in NHL,
too.
but more in the NBA, where
and
it's
the NFL
almost just
too.
Yeah, to the point where it's just like, dude, you guys make way too big a deal about, like, they have to downplay it because of how much the media play. Like, I don't know what the words describe
the media. No, you're right, 100%.
It turns into a circus. Like, yeah. So I don't know if there's a balance. There has to be a balance to be struck. I don't know what it is. The other type of thing.
Maybe there isn't.
Maybe not. Maybe this is all for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, well, remember when Norm Powell and Danny Green and all the guys on the 2019 Raptors who couldn't get their ring on opening night the next season or whenever it was, we had to wait until they returned to Toronto. Like, those are great crowd pop moments too. Like, I think I keep going back to something in the arena. Like, just I don't know. Like, I don't know if we can wait that long until the start of the next season, because even in MLB, the awards are announced like in the off season, and then that's just kind of formality where they're actually presented the award after. But I don't know. There has to be something there. There's got to be something in.
You might be on. You might
involved.
be.
I don't know.
You might be on the right track, because I do think that the fan element, removing the fan element now, front facing fan element, like where it's instead of like you have to go check the comments to see what the fans are saying, right?
Yeah.
Now, like with this idea, I think the fan element should come into play, and here is the silver lining. This is the first year that they're trying this experiment, so there is room to improve. In what areas I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I said, I'm not sure. We're not paid to. We're not paid to tell you that, right?
But we love hockey enough that we can come up with something at some point. When something enters my head, I will definitely present it. This is as far as my thoughts had gotten this weekend. I've brought the conversation to this point. Maybe I'll bring it to another point down the line when I have those answers.
Listen, if you got this far, if you're listening to this part of the podcast, let us know in the comments if you have anything. If you have an idea that the
NHL still doesn't know what it's going to do with the All-Star game.
Yeah, right? maybe your idea becomes truth. Like, who knows? We have no clue. It might not, because NHL doesn't listen to
Bill Daly
us.
is looking in our comments. No. He's in the comments. Suggestions.
Maybe Bill Daly is going to comment on this episode.
Bill Daly, what is your suggestion? Yeah. Okay. I think we've got one more topic.
Let's hit this one quick. Yeah. So the NHL draft combine, it has commenced. I believe we're in the middle of the combine.
I think we're at the latter part. I think it might have.
But did it end already?
It might be wrapping up like today, to be honest. But
okay, that's probably why we're getting like the interviews. So, as always, we've got a whole list of dumb questions that teams are asking. Do we want to call them dumb, or do we just want to call them like a very out there questions that teams are asking? Teams always ask.
Let's decide by the time we're done with the questions, and we'll decide if they're dumb or like maybe there's something to this.
Maybe that is how we frame this segment.
Dumb.
Dumb or no? Dumb or nah? Okay. Okay. Cristian,
so you haven't heard any of these yet.
No. I've seen more fun. I think I've seen one. If it comes up, I will tell you if I've heard it, because I do have an opinion on this one.
Okay.
But Cristian has compiled a list for us.
3.
Still a list. We're good.
Just in case anyone wanted 30, I have 3.
You have 3. I mean, listen, I don't know if we're privy to all the questions that were asked.
No, yeah, so. It's not like I called up who's a scout on the Leafs. I don't even know, but yeah, these are literally just on social media. This is just what we came across. Yeah.
Okay, so hit us with them. Let's.
This comes from Taylor Haas, who took to social media and introduced this to us. Montreal, as always, has the most unhinged questions this week. They're asking players if they were stranded in a desert with someone else, and they only had a bottle of water and a baseball bat. And Dave, you can't share the bottle of water with the other person, but the other person takes the water first, okay? What do you do with the baseball bat? If you need any clarification, I will clarify, but desert, baseball bat, water bottle. Other person takes water bottle.
Yeah, so that other person
What is
can't
your next
give you.
move?
So basically,
and you cannot share the water.
Basically,
Under
the
Montreal
Habs,
Canadiens rules here.
Yeah, so basically, what Ken Hughes
The most
and Co.
hypothetical.
Ken Hughes and Co. are telling you, do you want a Lord of the Flies, your stranded partner? Will you be able to get what's done? I guess that's the best way to. I don't know. Are we breaking people's legs in the NHL now? Like,
if there was an obvious answer, it wouldn't be a dumb question. The fact that we have to even like figure out what the way that you're phrasing it, where it's like, what do you do here? We don't even know. Like, what do the teams want us to answer with? We have no idea. No idea.
But Ken Hughes,
do you say
I'd
kill the guy, no questions asked?
I'm bashing his head in.
Let's
it's
go.
like
He has like the scout writes down killer instinct.
Yeah.
Right? Like what? Or is he gonna say this guy's a criminal? Like what?
Send this guy to prison. Right? Yeah. Like no, 100. No, dude.
Alcatraz. Right, so I don't know. I have no idea. So do you want some answers? Because we got some player answers.
Oh, I would love to hear some player answers.
So we got one player answer.
That's fine. One is enough for me.
So this is from Caleb Desnoyers. He played with Moncton this year. Who were in the Memorial Cup. They won the Q.
Yeah,
he's really good. He's a draft eligible. Obviously, this is the combine. He will probably go top 5, for sure top 10. So We're talking about a proper prospect here. Caleb Desnoyers' answer to the desert water bottle baseball dilemma. He said he would hit a home run.
Wow.
Look at this abstract answer from Caleb Desnoyers. I kind of love it.
Okay.
I kind of love it.
All right, well.
Once again, I don't know what to do with the question. I don't know what to do with the answer.
Listen, if the Habs ever needed a French Canadian prospect to come in and
next gen Justin Morneau,
take the mantle.
Yeah,
is Caleb Desnoyers the home run pick for the Habs? Who knows?
It makes for a great headline. I don't think Desnoyers will slip to them. Thank God, because that would really pissed me off.
I hope he doesn't.
Maybe they trade up, maybe not. Please no.
We'll see.
So that's question 1.
Okay.
You know what? And there actually is this one got past me. There was a secret fourth question here. So this is a good one. Apparently this is a usual question according to Taylor. From the Habs. What animal would the prospect be? What animal are you?
What animal am I, actually? That's a very good question. The first one that went to my head, and this is so cheesy, but I was like, I'm a lion.
Dog? Okay.
I'm a lion just because of, Leo is my last name. And, I don't know. I feel like I'm growing a bit of a mane around here, too, so...
That's a 10 out of 10 answer.
I just don't think I have, the roar, that tenacity, whatever the lion has. The lion's courage. That's what they're thinking. I don't know if I have that, but I like to say I'd like to think of a lion.
You wouldn't tell them that you just present yourself as I'm the lion.
I am the lion. Yeah. If I was getting drafted, okay.
10 out of 10 answer.
What about
if I'm the scout here? That's what I would say.
What about you? What are you picking?
You know what? I'll pick an animal that I literally found out about today. Okay, because I don't have an answer for this. Okay. I came across the craziest looking animal I've ever seen. It's called a blue dragon sea slug.
Is this in real life?
Up, Dave. This is real life, and this is the thing though. I want you to honestly look this up right now because it doesn't look like real life. Okay. Why am I that? It's blue. It looks really cool. It looks like it has a fun time in the ocean. That would be my answer.
What is this thing? Where did you find this?
I don't even remember. I saw it this morning before I went to work, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Dude, this looks
so that's what I'm telling the scout. And honest, I hope the scout would either tell me off or be like, "It's pretty cool."
Wow, that's like out of the normal. Either that or they think, "Why did you pick
You made that up.
The most Pokemon looking animal in the world?"
Dude, if that was a Pokemon, that's my starter.
I'm evolving that thing. That's for sure. till it becomes a blue dragon.
Maybe it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh. What's the blue eyes?
Blue eyes
dragon. Maybe that's what this thing is, man. Maybe it's
three eyes, or is it 3 eyes white dragon?
No,
blue
I
eyes
think
white
it's
dragon.
blue eyes. I think it's blue eyes white dragon. Definitely played more Pokemon than Yu-Gi-Oh. So
yeah, 100%. I did too.
Yeah, so there's my answer, Dave.
All right, dude, that's a crazy
now,
poll that you had.
Shout out to seeing that this morning. Now here's an answer from a prospect. From Jackson Smith. Jackson Smith is one of the top defensive prospects in the draft. He could sneak into the top 10. He could. So he said he'd be a mix of two animals.
Okay.
A mammoth.
Cop-out, but sure.
Cop-out, yeah. A mammoth and a goldfish.
Okay.
Maybe he's saying he's got like the memory of a goldfish. Like if he has a bad shift, like you flush it down the drain.
I feel like that is so overused that if you say that you're would be a goldfish, I would feel like if I'm scouting, I'm like, okay, marks off, because that is, I feel like so unoriginal.
These old hockey dudes probably love that. Like they probably have they probably have a list, like whoever this, like, because I feel like it's always like an older scout who does these interviews, right? Okay, I mean, this is just assumptions here. We're just talking here.
Listen, I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm imagining it's like a 65-year-old scout interviewing this guy for the Habs. He's interviewing Jackson Smith. Like, he's got a list of all the answers he's gotten over the years, and he might have an answer for this question. It might have been like, I don't know, Vinny Lecavalier, okay? And what if Vinny Lecavalier's answer was that he was a goldfish? And then this guy says it, you're like, yo, lock him in.
There's the player comp.
That's what
player plays most like Vincent Lecavalier. It's like, well, you know what? Actually, that's probably not an unfair assumption to make.
I'm only half kidding. Yeah, I'm only half kidding here.
I don't think that is an unfair assumption to make. I feel like you might be right. Some scouts probably are exactly like that.
Yeah. So thank you, Habs, for that content. We have some more. This is from Mark Shig, if I'm pronouncing that correct, on Twitter. Multiple prospects confirmed that they played a game during an interview. They were presented with a 10x10 board of numbers, randomly placed 1 to 100. Okay. They were asked to find 3 different numbers on that random board as quickly as possible. The team. Do you want to guess the team? Or did you see this one?
No, I haven't, but I'm a little, like, I'm just confused as to what the goal is for this. I just picked, because
I'm imagining if there's random numbers on a 10x10 board, like, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it was a 1 to 100.
I feel like the chances of you seeing 3 different numbers literally beside each other are really high. Like, you could, like, quick, pick 3 numbers. This one, that one, this, like, I must not be understanding how this...
But, like, my immediate thing is, like, are they picking, like, because I feel like your subconscious would automatically go to numbers that resonate the most with you. So maybe their thought is, you pick 3 numbers.
So it's less about, like, it's not like a speed test. It's like what numbers do you pick out test?
Yeah, like let's say I pick 34, right? The obvious, like, inference is,
this guy,
he knows his puck. Yeah, that could definitely depend on what your thing is. I don't know why that's my immediate reaction to what the perceived outcome of this would be if it's not a speed test. Because I guess if it's like pick 3 numbers, like, quick, it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, right? Like, whatever. But yeah, I'm so beyond confused as to what the goal of this is. Is there an explanation?
I'm looking right now. Okay, someone says, this is a comment. This is a test of visual scanning speed. Arguably pretty important neuropsychological trait in a fast-paced sport. Also a hot topic in physiotherapy, occupational therapy. Okay, so we're obviously missing the boat here. It must be something that maybe there's a detail that this guy didn't explain that well, because I'm having a hard time visualizing it. So I don't have, like, any, like, results from players or anything like that. But yeah, if you want to take one guess at the team, what team strikes you as wanting to deploy this?
This one's gonna. I do need at least a conference.
Okay. Yeah. Eastern Conference, not the Habs. We already did Habs.
Okay.
So
it really doesn't help me out that much. I just wanted to at least have a closer shot at the dark here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really know if there's not like a true connection.
Is okay, I'm just gonna go. This is a bizarre pick, like a bizarre test. So I'm just gonna go with a bizarre team. Is it like the Buffalo Sabres?
No, that would be a good guess because you'd be like, "This is a total waste of time." No wonder that they suck at building teams.
You stink.
I'm following your logic, but no. Geographically, you are close.
Is it the Leafs?
No. I feel like we've never had a leaked Leafs.
I feel like we're like they're under locking.
There's probably some from like
right?
the Nonis and like Burke era, but
yeah. What type of monster truck would you be if you a monster truck?
Gravedigger is the only answer. That's the only.
It's the only one I know.
Same.
Okay, so geographically, it's close to. So you're saying geographically, it's close to Buffalo.
We're gonna even do this. I'll just to speed this up and give you a 1 in 3 chance. Okay,
is it New York?
New blank something. So you have
New
Jersey or New York. You can choose one of those 3.
I'm gonna pick the Isles for some reason. I don't know.
Okay.
Is it the Isles?
Incorrect, unfortunately. Incorrect. See, Lou, I don't think we'd find out any Lou questions.
Well, now he's gone.
He would swear them to secrecy.
Yeah.
Right? So
he would beat them into submission to not get an answer out of anybody.
So not the Isles. The answer is the Rangers. I don't really think there's anything to draw from this, but I mean, they didn't have a great season. Chris Drury doesn't. I don't love him. He hasn't really impressed me, but
yeah, it's a bit goofy. So now, are these directives coming also from their general
Probably not. It's probably more scout reliant. I think other teams probably defer in who does the interview.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if some of these teams outsource like a psychologist or something. Like who even knows? Who knows? So,
in that case, Chris Drury most likely hired this perceived scout in there, so I mean, I guess
perceived. Word of the pod, perceived,
yeah. Weird. That is a very weird one, though.
We've got one more.
Okay.
This comes from Brooks Braden on Twitter. Prospect Kayshawn Aitchison. I believe this is another highly touted defense prospect. Kayshawn Aitchison on if he had any unique questions during the combine. I had to try and balance golf balls on top of each other. Once again, you can guess the team here, and Aitchison tells us he was able to complete it. So he didn't know if he'd be able to do it.
Oh, okay.
And he was impressed with himself after he figured it out. So which team?
Would you get, whoever this is, it's like, do you use this as your definitely draft if he's available, because he completed? I wonder how many other people completed it if he was able to complete it. I've got so many questions, by the way.
Yeah, I always think back to remember when Sam Bennett couldn't do a pull-up?
A pull-up, yeah.
And I think that was because he was dealing with an injury, which I mean, in that case, that it should not matter at all. But
that is unfair. Yeah, it's an unfair. Right?
It is unfair, but these things do not matter. Unless you absolutely bomb this interview, maybe you should Durr Sanders it. It probably isn't going to matter that much, do you think? I don't know.
I guess. I guess you're right. If they've done this much scouting, I think they know what type of character you already have.
Yeah. Unless you're giving the crazy answer. There's probably a wide range of acceptable answers, I would say.
Fair. Right? That's fair.
And okay. This one's like a weird skill test. This feels like hey, can you do a party trick for us?
So I'm gonna have to guess the team.
I will give you a hint here. This is gonna be a good hint. Golf balls. So these teams obviously did not make the playoffs. Why would they be screwing around with golf balls if they were a playoff team? Playoff teams don't have time for golf balls, Dave. So it's a non-playoff team this year.
Okay. Does this team play in a climate where you can golf?
Yeah, yes, 100%. Climate-wise, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Western Conference.
Western Conference.
Golfing is not like a staple of this place, though. They're more known for like
the scenery.
Not the scenery. There's a specific part of town.
Oh, is it Vegas?
No.
Oh.
No. Yeah, no. I'm trying to, because as soon as I say the type, like what the entertainment is, you're gonna be like, oh.
Is it Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Barry Trotz, he becomes a GM, and this is what he's got his prospects doing, or potential prospects.
Listen, I think he knows what he's doing, so I'm not. I don't think this one's like. From what we've heard so far, I don't think this is like the most outlandish one. It is a bit weird. I'll give you that, but.
To me, the Habs ones are the bottom two. Like, those were dumb.
That's yeah. Dumb. I'll be honest. I think the Rangers one I'm gonna put as my, because at the very least I can see a clear directive.
Yeah, even if we actually because I can't see it in my head, but I've seen enough about it, like what people are saying, that I'm missing the boat here. But there's something there.
Yeah. Okay. So I have one for you. If
okay.
We're gonna. So
yeah.
I saw this.
Okay.
So this is from Mark Sheeg. Did we say him already?
We did use Mark Sheeg. We did, but he's got more. I must have missed it.
So I'll tell you the team. Ottawa asked some prospects to tell them a joke with no notice. Some were just not able to do it.
Like, what the hell? Is this like... So this is like... they always say, like, you might have, like, a great resume, but if you don't fit the work culture. You might not get the job. So I think that's what this is.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Ottawa's doing this, and it's like, hey, guys, Brady told us to put this one on, and if you don't get it right, we're not allowed to draft you. Like,
we're not taking you.
So that's what this one strikes me as. Hey, Dave, I've got a knock-knock joke, but you have to start it.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Unsuspecting cow.
There's the joke, Dave. That was my terrible joke. Is that you had to tell me the joke?
You had to tell me the joke.
Honestly, that joke on an NHL scout, I think would be great.
Like the jokeception.
Jokeception, exactly. That's funny. That is pretty funny.
It is pretty crazy because I'm trying to think myself in these situations. Yeah. Like, if I were to be put on a spot, I would like to say I'm a humorous guy. I think you are as well.
Your humor is way more natural though, 100%. 100%.
Would I be able to just crack a joke with given no notice, like nothing? Like, you give me no materials, could I cook up? Yeah. Just a joke. Doesn't even have to be diabolical, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. See, okay,
I don't know if I could.
What counts as a win for you? Is it like
a smirk?
Do you have to get a smirk?
Smirk's good enough.
I was gonna say like an audible exhale out of the nostrils.
Yeah. I guess the exhale might also come with a smirk, unless they're like they got a stone cold.
But that gets you bonus smirks. That one maybe takes you up the rankings, right?
With an exhale, it might. You get 2 for 1. Okay. Ooh, man, you're on your way there. You really are.
My God, so stupid. I love it.
Just bizarre.
This is way better than everyone loves to talk about. Like, let's go. It's best shape of his life season, right? Like when training camp starts, we always get this guy grew 2 inches magically, and he's 25 pounds. Heavier. The shape of his life, right? Like, we have that talk. Dude, stupid draft combine questions talk, way better.
Oh, so much better.
I love this time of year way more.
I despise training camp season because it's like these guys are coming in, 2 inches, 25, like you said, 25 pounds.
Tyler Bertuzzi grew 2 inches when he's played for the Leafs somehow. No, he didn't.
I don't believe you.
Someone was lying.
Yeah.
Either Detroit was lying, or Boston was lying, or the Leafs
are lying. Yeah.
Someone did not measure properly, or someone is lying. Like, he did not grow 2 inches when he was 29 years old.
The fact that makes the rounds for genuinely a year because we're starved for a year.
And the fact that I remember this.
Yeah.
Why do I remember this?
I hate it. I would much rather. Okay, I have one thought in my head. Okay, Okay, so we are not televising the NHL awards anymore. You know who televises the NFL draft? The draft combine. I already gave it away. It's the NFL. Why don't we televise the NHL draft combine?
You used to be able to tune into a stream at least. I used to, because listen, we're obviously hockey hardos if we're doing this podcast, and you're definitely a hockey hardo if you listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
So I remember it was probably the McDavid year that I was watching dudes do their VO2 max, because I was just so locked in on I'm like, who are the Leafs gonna get? Because McDavid, and if it's not McDavid, who the hell?
Who's next?
I watch this, and I still remember this. You want to know who the star? Actually, sorry, this is 2016. So I was watching 2016 too. I've now told myself, yep. So the star of the draft combine in 2016 was potential Leaf at the trade deadline. Didn't end up being a Leaf, but Luke Kunin, or Kunin, however you say it, he owned the draft combine. That's all I remember. And I remember this because I watched. So, I mean, I would watch, Dave, to your point. I don't know how many other people would watch, but guess how you get them to watch? You don't televise, the VO2 max or the pull-ups or the push-ups. You televise the interviews.
Well, that's the thing. Do it, put them on a stage. I know. My goal, my dream is one day just get them on a stage and ask them these bizarre questions, kind of like a sideshow hour.
Maybe this is what they should do instead of the All-Star game for next year, because we're not going to have that.
Yeah.
We'll just, I don't know. We'll just
have the prospects come through and just let us see what you're about. Do you have any talents? Do you have any whatever?
I'm sure Gary Bettman and Bill Daly are loving this idea.
Well, Bill's already in our comments.
So Gary, get in the comments. Let us know what you think of this one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all out of ideas though now, Dave. Unless
I
you
am
had
too.
some, yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm run out of gas, and I think on that note, maybe we should wrap it up for another week.
Out of gas, but we'll see if we're out of oil tomorrow.
Ooh, I like that one. I kind of forgot that we started this episode with the Stanley Cup Finals. It feels like that's gone so far away. But like we said, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals does go tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Or actually, if you're watching this tonight at 8 o'clock, Monday night at 8 o'clock. If you made it this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Second Look channel. Share us with all your friends. Don't forget you can follow our socials in our bio, repost, whatever you want. Give us some love. We've been loving the love that we've gotten recently from everybody. We are gaining some momentum, and it's awesome to see. If you made it this far, leave a comment down below on your ideas. I think I mentioned it before. Your ideas for the NHL awards. Let us know what you think, or let us know anything that you maybe want clarification.
Simply let us know.
Just talk to us. We're bored. We're always bored. We're always willing to talk. On that note, I feel like I'm rambling again. It was a pleasure to talk to you again.
It was a pleasure rambling with you, Dave.
It was a pleasure rambling with you.
We'll see you again
next week. 100%.